What's up, YouTube? Welcome to AnTalk, the weekly comic conversation. We just saw the new Tim Burton film, which is basically like X-Men meets Harry Potter. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. So, Zach, I know that you're a big Tim Burton fan, right?
Yep.
Did you like his new movie?
I did like it. I don't think it's the best movie ever, but I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's better than a lot of what he's made in recent years. I'm a big fan. I'm more of a big fan of the late 80s and 90s Tim Burton. But this wasn't too bad. So Miss Peregrine's is a film that focuses on the main character, who's a young guy named Jake. And Jake grew up his whole life, close to his grandfather, and his grandfather would always tell him stories about this home for peculiar children. I'm not going to get into too many details because this is a no spoiler review. He's given a book by his grandfather, and it has the map and all this where this home is. So he gets to where this home is, and he actually runs into a couple of these peculiar children, and they lead him to this loop in time where they've been since 1943 in this loop, living every day, every single day, because the person who takes care of them, Miss Peregrine, who is like the head of this home for peculiar children, it's her job, it's her role to take care of these kids. And what she does is she can manipulate time, and she finds a day to where they can live safely and repeat the same loop and same day over and over. The only issue is, on this day is the day the Germans dropped bombs on this particular area during World War II. So that's all I'm going to get into with the plot, because you'll see how the story unfolds from there. But based on that, I like this movie, but it wasn't great to me. It's worth seeing, I think, but especially if you are a Tim Burton fan or into this kind of stuff. But I did think some of the character designs were pretty cool, and seeing some of their powers, they were unique. They were peculiar, if you will. What'd you think?
I liked the characters. I thought each of them were pretty cool and unique, like you said. But it definitely had that, like, each character had that Tim Burton feel.
Yeah.
And I thought that I couldn't see anybody else directing that kind of movie besides Tim Burton.
I think you're right about that for sure. Tim Burton's presence was definitely felt in this movie. I felt that right off the get when they show that, like, the forest, that dark forest in the beginning, towards the beginning. And yeah, like you said, in a lot of the characters, which there were quite a few characters, you can't really get into all of them with this story. So what do you think about some of the performances, like from Jake or Miss Peregrine or Baron, Sam Jackson's character?
I would say that Baron was probably my favorite character from out of those three, at least.
Right.
And I thought Miss Peregrine was pretty cool. I thought Jake's acting could have been a little better, but it didn't ruin it for me.
Right.
But overall, I thought everybody did pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. It was nice seeing Sam Jackson play that villainous role. You know how when he really wants to get into a role, he really sinks his teeth into it. He's such a performer. He does anything he's in. I think we take him for granted a little bit sometimes because he's in almost every movie, but he never underperforms. I think we just get used to seeing his face so much. But he had a different look this time, and I thought it worked pretty well.
Me too.
And I agree with you. I thought Miss Peregrine was good. I thought she was one of the more redeeming things about this movie to me. It seemed like when she was on screen, the movie was a little more entertaining than when she wasn't. Like you said about Jake, I also wasn't too sure about him and some of his acting, honestly. It wasn't so bad where it was distracting, but there were just parts where you're like, yes. But overall, I thought, they did pretty good. So, Zach, was there anything about this film that you didn't enjoy?
I'd say one thing that I thought could have been better was I wish that they would have maybe gone more in depth or explained how certain things worked, like the loops, because I was pretty confused even towards the end. Like, I felt like they could have touched on how that works or like the rules behind it.
No, I totally agree with you though, but like some of the rules are kind of unclear about this loop, and I don't know if we had to read the books maybe to understand it more, because neither one of us read the books, so we can't really talk about how accurate it is or anything like that. But I'd say towards the end of the movie I was kind of the most confused about what was going on, or why he had to do some of the things he had to do in accordance with like the loop in time and all that. Yeah, other than that, if you don't think too hard, the movie's not too bad. Like I said, most of the performances are pretty good. I think that the idea in general is just pretty unique. I like that. And I think some of the visuals in this movie are pretty good, and I think that's mostly thanks to Tim Burton. Any overall thoughts you have before we sign off?
I mean, I totally agree with everything you just said. I really liked how the story was, and it almost makes me wish that I did read the book.
Right.
But because it's very unique, and I really like, and that's one of the reasons why I like Tim Burton so much, because most of the things he does is very different, and I just love those kind of stories and movies.
Yeah. What would you rate it?
I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I'm also gonna give it a 7 out of 10 here. If you don't have any other overall thoughts, I think we've said all we need to say about Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is AnTalk, the weekly comic conversation. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya.